Well, here we are. The hype for this movie has been so real. With the trailers, the casting, the early screenings, everything has been abuzz with Superman recently. After all, this is not only a reboot of the Superman story, but it's a full reboot to the DC universe. This time being called the DCEU, while the last one was just the DCU. Totally not confusing. It's still funny that James Gunn made the one really good DCU movie, so they just handed him the franchise and let him cook. No shade to Aquaman, Wonder Woman, or Blue Beetle, as they are good, just not really good. They have some problems. Honestly though, I could do an entire review of the DCU movies considering my issues with them. But that's for another time. Here we're talking about a good director. Now, I'm a Batman guy. I've always loved Batman. And despite my repeated mentions of Moon Knight and the physical statue I have of him on my desk, I will always maintain that Batman is my favourite superhero. And we've been eating good with Batman content recently, mostly from The Batman to The Penguin to Lego Batman. Wait, that was how long ago? Either way, with Matt Reeves setting the bar so high with the best Batman movie, that's right, I said it, Pattinson's my GOAT. Superman has had some shoes to fill when it comes to redefining a legacy superhero. I mean, Super's been around since 1938, almost 100 years, and he's had a few live-action adaptations, but only one of them really being of any substance or merit. And his movies, not exactly being the best representations. So I was there, day one, ready to watch some good-ass cape shit. It's what you need sometimes. So, since James Gunn actually understands how to use Superman characters, we have them present in the story. Clark, played by David Corenswet, has been Superman for 3 years at this point. He's been dating Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, while both work at the Daily Planet with their old pal Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo, who I know lovingly from The Quarry.
Fuck! Son of a binky bonky.
Superman has been receiving some backlash recently because he illegally entered another country, Basovia, while it was trying to invade Jahanpur during a proclaimed war. Clark kicked their tanks and planes' asses, but struggled fighting a metahuman that they allied with, the so-called Hammer of Basovia. While trying to protect the human life of innocence, Clark finds himself in the crosshairs of Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult. Renfield, my beloved. The United States government do not approve of his methods in resolving the Basovian conflict, and he struggles to know where to turn to. He's at a very weird stage in his relationship with Lois, where they don't quite know where to go next. They're both very different people, and haven't even said they love each other yet. Superman isn't the only metahuman around, though. On both sides, we have several allies and enemies that he'll end up facing. Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, and Mr. Terrific, played by Isabella Merced, Nathan Fillion, and Eddie Gathegi, respectively. And all of them bring their own wonderful set of chaos into the movie. Their personalities are really very different, but they still make up the Justice Gang, and I can still fully believe that they work together because they actively pursue the same goal of helping people and keeping them safe. Wow, imagine that. Superheroes keeping people safe. Who would have thunk it? On the adverse side, Lex is working with the Mechanic and Ultraman. The Mechanic being the worst fear of the MCU fans who hate nanobot helmets because she's gonna put one of those on you and you can't stop her. While Ultraman is incredibly strong and lets Clark know it whenever he can. Honestly, I find it kinda hard to summarize the plot premise for this movie because it's very clearly inspired by All-Star Superman, which consists of Superman going on 4 wacky adventures that are pretty fun. And those elements are definitely present in the movie, meshed into the continuous narrative. But James Gunn has said that he originally wanted to include title cards when each scenario, or probably day, started. And there's a couple instances where I would have liked that, because there's some jumps that feel like a scene was skipped to just get straight into the action, and a title card explaining that it's the next day would have given enough context. The structure is honestly going to be hit or miss for some people. I personally really like it, because it feels straight out of a comic book. And this is a completely unapologetic comic book movie. It wears it on its sleeve, and it incorporates it into the world and scenes in such a beautiful way that the MCU feels like it never really did. The MCU always consisted of origin stories or self-contained adventures with pre-existing characters, but you never really see a movie where a character will be trying to stop a criminal or a gang, and then find another superhero there doing the same thing. Although you would have that if you let me write Blade in Moon Knight Season 2, Marvel, you cowards! And hey, Brand New Day is kind of going for that. I hope. Please, Marvel, keep it grounded. But this movie sets up such a world that just feels perfect for the tone. Characters will see giant kaijus attacking a city on the news and go to 7-Eleven for a slushie. Because they're kind of just used to it. Metahumans exist. Aliens exist. They know shit'll happen, and they're ready for it. Look at Luthor main building. This shit wouldn't exist in a normal world. Though it is Lex, to be fair. He's far from normal. Speaking of how unapologetically comic book this is, the colours pop so much. James Gunn is one of the few Marvel directors who likes having actual colour in his movie, Taika being the other main one, and it creates such a vibrant and visually stunning adventures to experience. It really works with the Guardians too because of how different they look. I mean, you've got a normal dude, a raccoon, a tree, a grey and red guy, a green girl, a blue girl, and a bug woman. They're not made up of greys and browns. This isn't Gears of War. It's Cowboy Bebop, and we're having fun. The Suicide Squad is probably the most overt inclusion of this, so I'm glad it carries over to Superman 2. Not only is his suit so distinctly blue and red, but everything around him is just so vibrant. The sky, the sun, the monsters, Guy Gardner's lantern constructions. Everything just pops like it's right off of the page. And speaking of visuals, the effects in this movie are almost always great. Almost. There's a couple wonky things I remember, but that's usually minor parts of a cool shot or scene. Krypto, for example, Superman's superdog, who is ever present, was based on the movements of James Gunn's own dog, Ozu, but still created using CGI for his many scenes. And the effects look pretty incredible. There's never a moment where they put me off or even seemed like the physics were off, which I think works because Krypto can fly, and if a dog could fly, you know their jumps would be pretty floaty. I also found Krypto to be a solid addition to the movie. I know some people were worried he'd just be the funny dog for comic relief and to keep kids' attention. And while he is very much a comic relief character, he does have a lot of cute scenes and there's some Chekhov's gun moments with his reactions to certain things in the movie, with excellent payoff. I have to say too, the action choreography is some of the best from DC movies. DC has always had impactful action when it comes to hits landing and having some weight behind them, but man, the fight scenes in this movie hit different. I mean, we not only have Clark using his super speed, flight, heat vision, frost breath, and super strength, but Hawkgirl is taking no prisoners, Guy Gardner is being an arrogant prick in a lovable way, and Mr. Terrific? Let's just say some people on Etsy are going to make a lot of commission money for making his jacket. I also weirdly love the way Lex fights, which is in air quotes because all Lex does is shout Tekken combos like he's doing a Dug Dug video with voice commands. But seeing how he's analysed and readied so many strategies to kick Clark's ass because he's that much of a hater, oh yeah, that's Lex Luthor right there. And my favourite thing is a small scene where he just says to use the same move on repeat. He lets his anger take over and just wants to see the Superman bleed. The smug and suave persona drops and he just unleashes his rage. What I think is the strongest point of this movie though, truly, is the characters. David Corenswet is Superman. Like, dude, that's him. The look, the fit, the biceps. Oh my god, those biceps. But especially the attitude. People have been saying the dialogue is a bit corny, and that's just perfect for our Supes. He's a complete dork with love and hope in his heart. He wouldn't be out of place with a propeller hat and a giant lollipop. His love for Earth, humanity, and just life itself is infectious. It perpetuates every scene and interaction in this movie. It's perfect. Rachel Brosnahan, in my opinion, is not a perfectly accurate Lois Lane adaptation from the comics, because I feel like Lois wasn't exactly well written back then by the male-dominated writing field, but I can say that this is pretty much how I'd want her to act. She's confident, she's really good at her job and takes it very seriously, and she's a little emotionally distant and doesn't understand her place in the world. Especially since, she's dating a near-indestructible alien. But her confidence in how the movie plays into her romantic hesitance with Clark before having her instinctively go after him when he's in trouble, that's Lois Lane. She doesn't even realize it, but that's her, and that's just how much she loves him. I also like that she actually butts heads with Clark on several occasions. It shows that they don't have the perfect relationship that they were once built up to be, but she's also not a complete doormat who's just going to go along with everything he says. She has agency, she cares about herself, her job, her life, and she should be like that. That's a realistic adaptation of a relationship, and not just having two yes men together. The relationship is very well done in my opinion, frankly. And I like that it takes a very different point of view, with Clark clearly caring about Lois a lot deeper than she does him. Or rather, he shows it more because of how he's got that white boy yearning turned on. And you know me, I'm a sucker for some white boy yearning. I could see this guy hovering outside the window of Lois's 6th floor apartment holding a boombox playing whatever music he said I listened to before. I've seen people say they needed more screen time together, but I think they had the perfect amount. It gave us extended scenes of them talking, and especially the interview, which encapsulates exactly how Lois is treating things, in a cautious manner, while Clark is head over heels for this woman. I mean, I'd be too. You'd have to surgically remove my arms from the waist of my hypothetical partner if she was this much of a beautiful person, in and out. Nicholas Hoult is also just an unbeatable Lex Luthor. I mean, come on. He talks exactly like someone who not only has an inferno burning inside of his heart, blazing for the one man who he wishes to ignite with his hatred, but it's believable that he truly thinks he is better than Superman in every way. And as long as Nick believes it, we do too. He's arrogant and makes rash moves when he thinks they can give him an upper hand. He clearly states his full intentions to Clark because he doesn't want any misconceptions that he's doing things out of a personal gain or a seize of power. He just wants to put that motherfucker in the ground. His holier-than-thou attitude, his rage and anger, and just how fucking evil this man can be. Treating everyone like a tool to be thrown away, he is Lex Luthor. He even has the weird homo-romanticism that many people fantasize about. What? Don't look at me. One small thing I don't like about Lex, though, is that his company is named Luthor Corp. Now, I know it's because they wanted it to be inherited from his dad, which makes logical sense. But the fact that it makes logical sense is the reason why calling it Lex Corp is a better option. Lex is an egotist. He doesn't want people to see Luthor Corp and think, oh, Lionel Luthor's company. He wants them to see it and immediately think of himself and nothing else. He is the mascot and his name is plastered over everything, just like Lex Luthor would want. Although it did get me thinking. If Lex Luthor is this much of a hater, we are in for a treat with Reverse Flash when that inevitably happens. Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific are also played so well that they are getting legions of stands lined up. Whether it be their awesome scenes utilizing their powers in such cool and unique ways, or just Guy being funny while being an asshole. Nathan Fillion brings his A-game, and I'm really happy to see him in another comedic role. He was really good in Guardians, and he's going to kill it in Lanterns. Eddie Gathegi is an actor I'm unfamiliar with, although I do remember him having a small role in X-Men First Class, I believe. But I think he really nails the quiet confidence Mr. Terrific has. I mean, it's his name for a reason now. Come on. And he has a couple fun moments of levity. This kind of acting is also why I'm really excited for the inevitable Batman and James Gunn's DCU. I feel like casting is going to be very, very hard, because come on man, you're competing with fucking Robert Pattinson. The guy is currently juggling the Batman 2, Dune 3, and The Odyssey. Genuinely some of the best talent out there, and he still won't answer my calls. But this kind of go-with-the-flow goofiness the serious characters get put in allow for excellent tonal clashes that work to service the story. The Batman Brave and the Bold did this so well, and I missed that show. Skylar Gisondo is now also my definitive Jimmy Olsen. I wouldn't have thought of this casting in a million years, but he has such a sad cat energy that I feel like works so well when Jimmy is dealing with the stress of the main events of what is going on. While he has his insane side plots, he feels like a reverse Foggy Nelson where all women want him despite him being a side character, and I would adore seeing more of this man. Especially since his considerations of a TV show with him leading. Please do this, and make each subplot insane and wacky. Introduce Darkseid again, because it'd be so fucking funny. I do think that Hawkgirl gets a little shafted compared to the rest of the characters mentioned though. She doesn't talk much to Clark one-on-one, and while she has cool action scenes, her personality isn't explored a lot. I do hope that in the future this is rectified though, because Isabel Merced seems like such a blast to be around. Even if she keeps teaching people how to say sandwich in Spanish. Martin Parr Kent also played minor roles, but are still very memorable. They got me a little misty-eyed, and I'm sure a lot of people felt the same. I love that they're clearly older and not good with technology, but love Clark and are very happy to see and hear from him, and even like Lois. I think my favorite part is that Park Kent is the one tearing up with the emotional talk with Clark. He gives genuinely excellent life advice that I'm sure resonates with a lot of people and parents. And having a strong masculine figure who clearly shaped a lot of Clark's life show such rich emotion, it's just great to normalize it, since it shows how much you care. Another thing I gotta give props to Jimmy 9mm for is that he knows how to move that fucking camera. And that's all you need for good superhero camera work. There's so many awesome one-takes of circulating shots around the actors, just talking to each other. Large one-takes in action, intense sequences, and the way he uses the camera during fights is just, it lights something carnal inside of me. Gets me so fired up that it has to catch up to Clark after he jets off, or that it follows through with the impact of his punches to get a clear shot of his front as he deals with the enemy's next attack. He really brought his A game for this, and I respect it. Finally, I want to talk about some of the backlash this movie is getting. I'm gonna be real with you. Let's rip the band-aid off real quick, and if it hurts, then why the fuck are you even here? This movie is woke. Superman believes in pro-immigration. He believes in respecting women and minorities and working alongside them. He's adopted and uses his chosen name, and most of all, he actively works to stop an invasion and slaughter of a country full of civilians. He sees that one side who are using the guise of war to defend their destruction and crimes are definitively bad in the situation, and does everything he can to get in their way and protect the innocent lives. Especially since these countries, in question, are described as having a long-time feud for land. One trying to take over the land of the other and push the residents out, even defending their progress as an accepting society and not allowing the beliefs of some to be used to justify the demolishing of many. That's right, Superman is pro-Palestine, as he would be. If you can't see that, dude, get your eyes checked. It's kind of crazy, honestly. But overall, I'm really happy with what Superman turned out to be. It's pretty much everything I wanted from the James Gunn Superman and more, with incredible performances all around, great emotional beats and personal themes relevant to the plot, introducing so much I know is going to get used in the future for many movies, and I will gladly consume it all. They did it. They made Superman loved by the people again. He's not boring, he's not evil, he's truly good and hope incarnate. He's back, and he will be for a while. Even despite my complaints about this movie, I left with such a huge fucking smile on my face. And it's been a long time since a movie's had that effect on me. 9 out of 10. Hashtag the gun doesn't miss.